Welcome back to SPC Welding and Fabrication. Thank you all for the ones that are following along and subscribing. We need all the help we can get. Well, today we're going back to the sweet Toyota pickup truck. We got to work on all the wires on the bottom, get a battery wire ran from the back of the truck to the front of the truck so that we can power up the cab and then try to start putting some of the wires back in the cab so that hopefully we can get the cab to power up, maybe get some lights to work, some headlights, some dash lights, something. We need some kind of satisfaction. We need power because we want to try to make all the amenities that the Toyota did have work again. We're going to try to start tying in a lot of the original harness with the engine harness and get it all buttoned up and tucked up nice, neat, and pretty. See if we can't get some stuff done to where we can be making this thing start here pretty soon. All right, well, let's get to it. All right, well, as you can see here, we've got a sweet distribution block right here. And this fuse box right here goes to all the air rod stuff. And then we're going to tie into the battery, and then run it to right here. And then we'll run power wire to the front. Okay, we're going to run a power wire all the way to the front. I've got it ran up and around through the little clamps. See what we got going here? All right, and we're going down, and then we're going all the way to the front. We got it wrapped up with some sweet heat wrap right here. So that way, got it good. I mean, it's like 3 days away from the exhaust. That's good. And then it goes back up so you guys can see. All right. And then we're going to go around over here and feed it to the starter. It's going to come around, got these nifty little clamps, goes to the starter. Okay. And then we've got another wire ran from the starter up to another little baby distribution block up on the front. I don't know that you can see it down here. Yeah, you can kind of see it right there. Right there. I'll let it down, show it to you. But that way it powers up. We can run power wires from the factory cab fuse box. All right, well, that distribution block that runs right up there and underneath the fuse box, we're going to use that to power up the factory truck fuse box and the fuse box for the LS. If he needs to be able to wire any accessories to it, he'll have a power spot up there. If he needs to be able to jump it off, he'll have a power spot up there. It's just a nice little spot to have access to power. All right, well, we're going to let it down now. We're going to try to start hooking up some wires and make some stuff happen. Going down, 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 down. Let me tell y'all, I worked in the front yard back when we was working on Hondas, and I did motor swaps in the front yard, in the dirt, in the gravel for years. And then I got concrete, and I thought I was on top of the world. Like, I just thought I was like on top of the world. I got some concrete to work on. And then when I got a lift, first time I ever used a lift in my life, I was like, I don't even want to lay on the ground anymore. Like, I hate laying on the ground. Getting me to go outside and try to work on something, I ain't having it. If it's cold, I ain't feeling it. I ain't laying in the mud to work on your junk. Like, I have gotten spoiled over the years, guys. I ain't gonna lie. But I kind of like the concrete and the lift. I ain't trying to lay outside in the ground anymore. All right, well, we got the truck laid down, and we're gonna hook some wires up. All right, well, now we're gonna see if we can't take this super janky fuse box and figure out. I'm gonna say this wire right here probably went to the original battery post because the battery was right here. So I think we can power this wire up. I got all the rest of the harness plugged up, I think. So we should be able to power this up, see if we get any kind of excitement. All right, well, let's see what we got. Okay, we're going to, just for temporary purposes, let's just stick this over here and touch it to it. That'd be a good idea. All right. Well, no, that ain't gonna work. Okay, here we go. And just like so. Yep, that's pretty much touched there. Fire hazard. All right. Let's go power up the battery. All right. Gonna hit the key. See if anything lights up. Anything comes on. Anything? Nothing? A flicker? Anything? Well, dang. All right. We ain't got nothing. You got no headlights? Is the headlights plugged up? Yeah, they're plugged up. Okay. I'm gonna assume that's a ground. And I guess I could run a wire over here. Let's get one of these wires down here on the ground and wrap it around that ground stud down yonder. And just to be double sure we got it grounded good. And we'll wrap it around this. Just see what we got. Alright. We still don't got no headlights. I don't think that's the problem. Okay. I bet if we figure out where this here wire goes and plug that in, we might get some satisfaction. At least something. Oh, man. I'm entirely too fat for this. Oh. Hey, we got dash lights. Oh, we got a brake light and a seatbelt light. Look at that. How about a headlight? We got headlights? Hey! Well, we even got high and low beams. Look at that. All right, well, look at that. We've got power. So now we just got to permanently attach that fuse box and make a wire that's not super janky that goes to the battery. Make that fit. Then run all these wires because they can't be getting in the tire. Then we'll probably start putting wire loom on all that over there and slowly start putting this stuff together. But we got to run the serial data port wire and the key switch ignition wire. And then I got to tie in the fuel pump wire, these 3 wires. And that's pretty much the last 3 wires for this side. We do got a torque converter lockup switch that we got to put in the cab too on that side. But we're getting close to having the wires put where they need to go. We just got to make them all nice and pretty now with some wire loom and zip tie them in place. All right, guys. Now we got to find the fuel pump wire. I'm assuming it goes because this was the fuel pump relay for the factory truck, factory motor, and all that. So I'm assuming one of these here wires right here is going to run to said back of the truck. So we got to figure out which wires it is so we can tie that into our fuel pump control from our fuse box. We got our cool bleep bloop thing here. And I've got us a wire ran, touching the 2 bleep bloops together to wire at the back. I don't know if I'm looking for the ground wire right now or if I'm looking for the signal wire, but I ran us a wire back there. We're going to try to find out what this is here touching. Let's go figure that out right fast. All right, well, this should be the ground. Hopefully, we should be able to just touch it to any old ground source, and hopefully the white wire on a Toyota pickup is the ground, is what we're hoping. Oh, yeah. Okay, and to the harness? Oh, yeah. All right. Well, that was simple enough. All right, well, now I'm going to swap it to the blue wire back there and see if we can find that one. That's going to be the tricky one right there. But we got our bleep blooper, so we should be able to figure this out. All right, guys, we're back. We got the ground wire figured out. And now we have been slowly, very slowly, trying to figure out about the power wire. The wire that's going to feed the power to the fuel pump. I was like, well, we'll just use the factory stuff. Then I won't have to remodify the wires to run it all back there. Probably should have just run a new wire back there, to be honest with you. But we got it figured out. It took a while. We bleeped and blooped, and I mean, like, there is, like, they love blue wires. They got, like, I don't know, 10, 12 blue wires in this one little section right here. And I have bleeped and blooped every blue wire on this thing and never found the one going to the back. I bleeped and blooped every wire on this thing and never found the one going to the back. So then I got on this cool smart box there, the little thing we're using for video, the little smart box, and got on there and looked around and couldn't find nothing, and finally found the wiring diagram for this here hot rod. And they got this thing that they call a power. It's not called a main relay. It's like a power distribution relay or something. Pretty much fancy main relay. Well, anyway, that relay sends the power to said fuel pump. And that there mojoker is under the dash over here behind the glove box in the side of the kick panel, way up in the top up there, that you got to take like a 10 millimeter socket to get up in there to get the relay out, to get to the wires, to bleep bloop the wires to see if that's the wire you need. Well, let's take y'all around over here and show you what we got going on. But we finally found the correct wire. I mean, it took us a hot minute and a lot of bleeps and bloops, but we got her figured out. All right, let's get on it. All right, bringing y'all around, we can see that we had to take the whole side of this here dash apart. And then up in here, they got things that's got blue wires, and blue wires. And then over here, we got blue wires. And then down here, we got more blue wires. We just got a lot of blue wires, okay? But this here fancy do-job and relay is where it gets its power. Right there. Look at that. 5,100 blue wires later. And we got the correct one. Y'all don't believe me? Y'all check it out. Watch. Bleep. See? Bleep, bleep. See? Uh-huh. All right. Well, now we know exactly where we need to tie in signal wire from our fuse box to power that there fuel pump. All right, well, let's see if we can't run some wires around and make some stuff happen. All right, well, now that we've got that debacle figured out, now we got to put the super janky, busted up fuse box back together. And then figure out about a factory mounting location for this thing. We got to figure out where to put it and how to bolt it down, because it don't have but like one little tab. So I feel like there's going to be some modifying involved in this. But right now we just want to put it back together. There we go. Alright, and then we wanted to set this thing down in there somehow. Might be some custom bracketry made for that. Okay, and then we got to run a wire for the power wire. Not the end of the world there, but we can do it. Alright. Now we're going to have to figure out how to run a wire to that, but we should be able to get that. That ain't no big deal. Okay. Got that done. We need to get a power wire for there, and then run the fuel pump wire, which I think was the gray wire, in the fuse box. Find my paper. What to do with my paper. Alright, now that I have found my paper, the gray wire coming out of the fuse box is the power wire to power up said fuel of the pump. This one's for the air conditioning, this one's for key on. So technically, if we hook up these wires right here and the diagnostic port, the torque converter lockup, we should about have said wiring done. Oh, the check engine light. We got to hook up the little check engine light. All right, well, let's get on it, figure out where we're going to put these wires and how we're going to route them. This will probably be another one of them there sped up time lapses. Alright, what do y'all think about that? Just that little bit right there made it look a lot better. Alright. We're going to try to work on this wiring over here. See if we can't get that tucked away now. Alright, well now that we got those wires wire loomed up and got them ran across, now we're going to get over here and get started on some of these wires. I've took these wires right here, the factory truck harness wires, and ran them up and over. And I got these little clip things right here that come in this cool assorted pack. And I get mine at the auto fair every year. I always go buy stuff like that and wire loom and the little zip ties and stuff, little tie down zip ties with brackets and stuff like that. I go every year to the auto fair and buy all that stuff. And I'm sure I could probably order that junk cheaper online or something like that, or on the Amazon or something, but I like to support the auto fair, you know what I mean? Because if we don't go buy junk there, then we ain't going to have the auto fair. So I try to go once a year and stock up on all that. I go buy, I know, like literally, you can fill the entire back seat of an extended cab pickup truck up for like $70 in wire loom. Like, you got more wire loom than most people ever use, but I use a lot of wire loom because I don't like using old raggedy wire loom. If I take the wire loom off of something, I'd put new wire loom on it because we want it to be nice. But anyway, I got these little clips, and I've put these little clips right here and right here. And, well, actually got to put this other one in, but you get the idea. Here's your little 1/4-inch hole. Clip it on there. You probably can't see this because my watermelon head's in the way. But you just clip it on there like yay. And that makes it nice and pretty up through there. And then I'll take this stuff that we don't know what goes to quite yet, and we're going to stick it up here for right now until we figure out what they go to. But I think this is parts of the original engine harness plugs in, but we might use some of that if we need to get the factory temperature gauge, the factory speedometer, and the gas gauge. I don't think this thing's got a whole lot of gauges in it. I literally think it's just got, hold on. Yeah, this little turd's just got a temperature gauge, a gas gauge, and a speedometer. We're not really care about the speedometer, but we would like the other gauges to work. It's probably got like lights and junk. Like, it's probably got like a oil pressure light or a check engine light. We'll see if we can make that stuff work too if it's got it. But we're gonna get back on these wires right here. We're gonna get them wires run. That goes down to the bumper. So all that's good, and that'll get tucked up out of the way. That way the tire don't hit it when the tire goes up. All right, well now we're going to work on some of that there spaghetti, because I do know that I got to run a wire for the mill light and torque converter lock up in the cab. So got to run those, and I think that's all the wires over here that's got to go in the cab, I think. And then we'll be able to put wire loom and stuff on that and get that going. All right. Well, now that we're inside this sweet hot rod, y'all can see that the inside of this thing is just as custom as the outside. all the way down to the sweet steering wheel that it looks like he may or may not have stole off of his go-kart. I had one like that on my go-kart when I was little. So he may have stole that off of a go-kart. If not his go-kart, he may have stole it off of somebody's go-kart. I'm not sure. But now we're going to try to take this there gauge cluster out and figure out which one of these 501100 little light holes it looks like it might have in there works to check engine light, and if any other lights in there that we need to learn how to make power up. And well, I guess maybe find the power wire for this air conditioning switch while we're in here. Might as well go ahead and find that wire, so that way we'll have it. So that way we know which side of the truck we need to run our wires in to make those go before we wire loom that up. But I've already got a little bit of this kind of took apart. Oh, junk. All right. And screwdriver. I don't know exactly how this is coming apart, but I guess we'll figure it out here in a minute. Okay. Is there a screw in there? I don't think there's actually a screw in that. I might have to go get me a flashlight. I can't see in that one. All right. Flashlight obtained. Oh yeah, there's definitely no screw in that one. All right. Let's go over there. Yeah, there's a screw over there. Okay. Ew. I don't know if that's blinding y'all or not. So let's turn that off. Oh, entirely too fat for this. I don't know if there's screws down here or not. There's not a screw in that. There's not a screw in that. Well, there's not a screw in that. Hey, there's a screw right there. Okay. Well, it's got at least one screw holding this panel on. Maybe that's the only one it needs, I guess. I don't know. Oh. I know one thing. There's a lot of metal, sharp objects in the floor of this thing that hurts to sit on. Alright. I guess we got it loose. Maybe not. Some kick here. I don't know. I'm too fat. Ugh. Oh, yeah, I got that side loose. All right. Is it glued? Does this thing got tilt steer? I don't think so. Well, there ain't no more screws right there. Must just be really good clips. But I don't want to mess up his sweet paint job. There we go. Uh-oh. Huh. All right, well, now that we've slowly got this piece right here worked out, and we haven't even forked it up yet. Look at that. All right. Whew. This is back here. All right, and now, hey, this part's right here's got all the screws in it. They must have didn't take it apart to paint it. This still got all its screws. I don't know, it does look like it may have been took apart at one time. Ow, that was loud. All right, now let's see if we can get this thing out. Oh yeah, that ain't no major deal. Okay, mash that brake pedal. Move the shifter that ain't hooked to nothing. Sweet go-kart steering wheel is kind of in the way. I ain't kidding. All right. Well, now, I guess I could unplug it for right this very second, and then we could shine a light into these bulbs and figure out which one does what we need to make work. Where is the light? Here it is. Okay. Well, look, this one right here is the check engine light. Look at that. See that? So we got to make that one light up for the check engine light. Overdrive off. We're not worried about that. We don't have that. Operation. VCT power. We don't have that. We're not worried about that. Turn signal. Gotta have the turn signal one. I think this one's just a cluster. Oh yeah, that lights up the cluster. Look at that. Now we'll go over here. That one should be, that one right there should be the high beam, I think. Yep, that's the high beam indicator. And then that one works. The turn signal ones work. We checked that when we got the dash to power up. All right, so what's we got over here? Does this thing not have an oil pressure light? This is the last one. Maybe it's oil pressure. Oil pressure. All right. Here we go. Okay, so we would like to make the oil pressure light work and the check engine light work. In theory. All right, so now we should have to figure out, if you follow these here little mazes, you know, when you had to play mazes when you was a little kid, but if you follow these here little copper mazes till you get to the copper maze that goes to that one right there, or nope, I lied, not that one. This one right here, which should be the check engine light. Yes, that right there is the check engine light. So we got to find out which one of these copper mazes makes that there, and then we'll know which wire it is. All right, so follow the maze. All right, so we just got to figure out which one of those two wires makes that come on. So now we should be able to figure out which one of these here plugs. Which way do we unplug this thing? Like this? No, like this. All right, so if that's the case, then it is. Let's just plug that back in and then go back to follow on the wire. What do I do with my pick? Here's my pick. Okay. This one right here. Get it back up here in the light so we can see what's going on. Okay. This one right here goes. Purple. So that purple wire. Okay, and the one underneath it, black. I want to show you the black's the ground. The purple is going to be the signal. Let's check it again. Double check this. Purple should make that there check engine light come on. Now we need to figure out where those wires go. Which side of said truck do those go to? I'm going to say that they run over here, because I'm pretty sure the engine harness plugged in over yonder. All right, well, we're going to go over here now and bleep bloop some wires and see if we can't locate the purple wire over there. And if that's the case, then we'll have to run the meal light wire across and over. And then we'll probably have to run the oil pressure wire across and over too, because if one's here, well, the other one's probably there, because they're probably tied in toward the engine harness. All right, well, now we've got our bleep blooper again, and we've moved to the other side of this here magnificent hot rod. And now we're going to look for a purple wire, and I think it was a black, hold on, let me check. I think it was a black wire and a purple wire. Yes, we're gonna look for a purple wire over here, hopefully. This is where the factory computer and all plugged in, so I'm hoping this is where the factory engine harness and stuff plugged in. I'm hoping it's gonna be in one of these here pins right here. I think the heater's fixing to come on, and it's gonna be hot too, because that thing's going right in this door. All right, well, like I was saying before, the heater decided to come on. This is the engine, where the engine harness plugged in at. So hopefully one of these wires is going to be purple. Now I'm thinking, doing a little bit more studying, I think that the black wire is going to be the power for the cluster. The accessories on the cluster, all the lights on the cluster, and I think it's just going to use that for the power, and then the PCM would send a ground to make the light come on. Is what I'm thinking. We're just going to probe every one of these and then see if there's a purple wire in it. We are on beat, baby. Yep, we're still on beat. Okay. Well, I hope there's a purple wire over here. Alright. Let's see what we got. Oh, just my luck, the last one in the whole thing. I probed every one of them. Yep, that one's purple. All right, so now we'll definitely be running our meal lights over here, and that should make the meal light come on as long as all the other stuff has power when we turn the key on. But it should, because all the other lights work. So that shouldn't be no big deal there. All right, well, we'll get back out here now and see if we can find that plug. Would be good. Find out where some of that goes. If not, we'll just tie into that. Maybe see about the oil pressure light too, because we'd have to figure out how to plug all that in to make it come on. But it might just be a 2-wire thing too that sends power and makes it come on. Let's check that right fast while we're already in here. Let's see if we can't just go ahead and find that wire while we're here. All right, well, I've got the gauge cluster out, and I think that the one on the far other end of the thing was yeah, you can see that's the oil pressure light. All right, so now we need to do the little maze thing again, figure out where these wires are, and we'll know which plug that is. All right, let's see. Here goes one of them. All right, that's the second one over from that pin. All right, second one over. Hopefully the next side will be the third one over. Or it could be the first one over. Yes, the next one over. So the second and third one over from whatever plug that is. I'm turning on stuff. All right. I guess we need to figure out which plug that is, because we know this one's this one. All right, so this one. Yes. All right. I don't know that y'all can see that way over there, but and yellow. The black we know is going to be power. So should be yellow. Yes. All right. So now let's take our bleep blooper here and bleep bloop the yellow wires. Or bleep bloop for a yellow wire. Going over here, looking for yellow. This should be the oil pressure light, if we can find that. Let's see, the other one was in this plug. Let's see if there's another yellow one in this plug. Ooh, there is a yellow one in this plug. All right. But right when I found the yellow one in that plug. All right, well, we've got the oil pressure, or oil pressure light. It's just a little light. Probably comes on if it's got less than like 5 pounds or something. And we've got the check engine light. I guess we could look about the speedometer wire while we were over here. I mean, that's less work we got to figure out later if we figure it out now. Speedometer is probably going to be a little bit more complicated. Alright. Considering I don't even know which wires make the speedometer work. Signal. This is the speedometer. So I'm going to say signal makes the speedometer work. Alright, so let's try to find our maze on the signal for the speedometer. Oh man. This one's taking a turn around the world. I wonder if I can use the bleep bleep for this. I could probably bleep bleep this and not have to do as much mazing, because that one right there, I'm gonna get lost in that one. I'm gonna be in dead ends. I'm gonna be stuck in the corner. All kinds of different places over here. It's just not a very exciting one. Are you kidding? First one. Really? That would be so great if that was really it. It is. Holy moly. Well, that was cool. Fat guy never gets that lucky. Alright. I guess I need to go get me an ink pen so I can write this down so I don't have to remember it. Or I guess I got it on video. I would remember it. Alright. Well, now that my phone has died and we've recharged my phone for just a little bit, maybe we can at least finish this spot. Alright. I have figured out that it was the last one on this plug, and this is the green wire. And that's pretty much when I realized that my phone had died. So now we've got to get over here and figure out which one of these plugs have a green wire, and hopefully that will make the speedometer work. That would be cool. To actually have a working speedometer. I was about positive we weren't gonna make that speedometer work, but this would actually be pretty good. Watch it be the last one again, just like we did last time. But hey, if it's the last one, that means we found it. This thing, you know. Huh, come on now. And quit beeping on me. Bleep, bloop. Alright. Now that we've wasted that time, let's do that again. Alright. Hey, here we go. Alright, and that one is green. With a white line, or red line. Green with a red line. Alright. I'm going to get a piece of cardboard and write all this down. So that way, I'll remember what it is. Alright. Purple is the check engine light. Yellow is the oil light. Green with a red line is the speedo. Alright. Write that down. And I think that's pretty much got that. Now we should be able to go outside, and I'm going to find that wiring harness right there and see if we can, I don't know if we want to strip that wiring harness down or just cut that plug off that wiring harness. But we'll move into that and see what we can't make happen. And I do want to thank the guys that do watch all these videos with me and like and subscribe and comment. Thank y'all. Thank y'all very much. We're trying to give this whole YouTube thing a go. I'm not going to say we're real good at it yet, but we're going to keep trying. And I just want to thank y'all for watching. Alright, well, let's jump around and see what we can't come up with. Alright, guys. Well, I have found the factory engine harness, and these are like the same two plugs we were playing with inside the cab. These were probably for the PCM that was inside the cab. Alright, so I'm thinking this is going to be a lot more work, but I think it'd be cooler in the long run. I think what we're going to do is strip this wiring harness down and see if we can't just use the plugs out of this harness so we can tie into the speedometer, so we can tie into the oil light, so we can tie into the check engine light, use the parts out of this harness that we need for that. Well, I don't know that we're going to have time to do all of that in this video, so that'll probably be on the next video, to be honest. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this episode of said Toyota pickup. I've got to get all this put together and edited for my Sunday upload. I told y'all we were going to shoot for 2 a week. It's a lot of work, but we're going to give it a try. Thank y'all for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and let me know in the comments. Should we keep working on this turd? Should we push this turd outside and work on the dually? We got to get both of them done. So either way, we're going to make videos on both of them. All right. We'll see y'all probably Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll have another one up. Thank y'all. Have a blessed day.